Father's Day, the time of year that celebrates all the great fathers in the world. So I think it's time to do something that actually was a lot easier to plan than to actually execute. Making the top 10 list of fathers in anime. You see, for whatever reason, anime has this thing about making fathers either evil, disconnected, or flat out not around. It's like literally a character trait for most shonen protagonists. Well, let's see here how to make a male protagonist. First off, he has to have cool hair. Yeah. We can't forget about that. Nope. Next up, he has to have some latent ability that will instantly make him the strongest characters in the series, no matter how long other characters have trained for. Yep. That's a good one. What's next? He's gotta be dense. Okay. He has to have a bottomless pit of a stomach. Good, that's a good one. Not the smartest kid. Perfect. Oh. And he can't have a father. Nope, you're right. No fathers allowed. What about a mother? Sure, he can have a mother, but we gotta kill her soon. So this was tough. Anime hates fathers almost as much as they hate the childhood friend. But I did it. I scoured the internet, watched countless animes, and finally made a list of the top 10 fathers in anime. But obviously, before we begin, I'm going to ask you beautiful bastards to drop a like, subscribe to the channel, turn on notification, because a couple of y'all have been DMing me about why haven't I posted in months, which concerns me. And also, about 98% of you watching my videos aren't sub. That's wild. Like, I've been seeing some people talk about this, and they're like around the 60, 70, 50%. 98 is wild. That's just crazy. So hit the sub button. You won't be disappointed. Obviously, it looks like you enjoy watching my videos, but whatever. Anyways, with all that junk out of the way, let's begin with number 10. Shiro Fujimoto from Blue Exorcist, the adoptive father of the Okumura Twins. Yes, this list will include adoptive fathers and other father figures because, again, it was kind of hard to actually find good fathers in anime. Anyways, Shiro Fujimoto was a priest, an exorcist, and a paladin of the True Cross Order. Not much is known about his past other than 15 years before the start of the series. As a paladin, he was given the order to slay the newborn children of Satan. But when he was about to fulfill his mission, a newborn Rin smiled at Shiro, and that was enough for him to spare the twins' life. He decided to take both the children of Satan and treat them as his own sons. As a father, he changed from a cold-hearted nature to one that was more embracing and nurturing. He was especially close to Rin because he had to keep a special eye on him so his demon powers wouldn't awaken. His patience and understanding helped with Rin's temper. He even allowed his son to hit him to vent his feelings, and then claims his injuries were from something else. In the anime, it even goes a step further, showing that Shiro would eat Rin's first attempt at cooking just to boost his confidence. Unfortunately, his ultimate act as a father would be his last. Satan wanted to bring Rin to Gehenna, possesses Shiro, and open the gate to hell. In one last attempt to save his adoptive son, Shiro regained his consciousness and stabbed himself, preventing Satan from taking Rin. A sacrifice that only a loving father would do. At number 9, we have Jiraiya and Minato from Naruto and Naruto Shippuden. I didn't want to have two characters from the same show take up two slots on the list, so I'm adding them together. I could have only gone with Jiraiya, but Minato is one of my favorite characters in the show, so I just had to include him. Anyways, we all know the story of Naruto, or we should. He's only like the second or third biggest anime character ever behind Goku and Ash. Well, we wouldn't have Naruto without Minato, the fourth Hokage. His relationship with Naruto is simple yet beautiful, as he only spent mere minutes with his son. Moments after Naruto was born, due to interference from Obito, the nine-tailed demon was released and began its attack on Konoha. Minato, being the goat that he is, defeated Obito and released his control over the demon, and teleported the demon far away from Konoha. There's where Kushina, Naruto's mother, already dying from the removal of the nine tails, planned to reseal it in herself so it could die alongside her. Minato refused this as he believed the nine tails' strengths could be used in the future. He believed that Naruto to be the child of prophecy that Jiraiya told him about, and planned to seal the nine tails inside his son. Not wanting to be sealed again, the demon attempted to kill an infant Naruto, and Minato, being the goat that he is, did what any loving father would do. He sacrificed himself to save his son, and sealed one of the demon halves in him and the other in Naruto. With no father to grow up with and the night of his birth being kept a secret from him, Naruto grew up very lonely and wanting a family, and after his first Chunin exam, Naruto finally met his godfather, Jiraiya, and they became inseparable. Jiraiya teaches Naruto everything that he knows, and helps shape Naruto to the man that he is today. Most of what we see in Naruto as a character comes from Jiraiya, the father figure that Naruto sorely needed. Even in death, Jiraiya's impact on Naruto is strong. To honor his mentor, his goal was to bring peace to the world. One can honestly make a whole video about Jiraiya and the effects he had in the entire world of Naruto through his connections with Minato, Obito, and just so many more. So that might be in the works in the future. Anyways, you know you're a beloved father figure and character when your death still ranks as one of the top ones in all of anime history. At number 8, we have All Might, or Dad Might, whatever you want to call him, the current best figure in anime. We all love All Might. Not as much as Deku, but we all do love All Might. Deku and All Might have a wonderful relationship, mostly one of mentor and student, though it's All Might's unquestionable belief in Deku that puts him on this list. Like many sons around the world, I could proudly say that one of the greatest things a father could give his child is just believing in him or her. I don't know what it is, but mothers seem to be more expressive in their love for their children, while fathers seem more secretive about it, if that's the right word. Like, they love you to death, but they don't really want to show it too much. I don't know if it's just for me, but my mom was always openly supportive about anything I did, while my father was a lot harder to get a reaction from. I can't speak on a daughter's behalf because I'm not one, but from a son's point of view, having a father believe in you is like the ultimate boost. We always just want to make them proud. It's this aspect of a father-son relationship that resonates so much when I see All Might and Deku. Only knowing Deku for a couple hours, he saw the person he was and trusted the fate of the free world to him by granting him one for all. And throughout the story so far, we only ever see All Might believe Deku can surpass him as a hero, training him, inspiring him, teaching him, challenging him whenever he needs to push. All Might believes in Deku more than Deku believes in himself. So much that he passed the torch to Deku even though he wasn't ready, because he knows when push comes to shove and the world really needs him, Deku will be up for the challenge. Number 7, Van Hohenheim. Ah, God, I love this show. Now, okay, this one might cause some controversy because he wasn't really around for his sons, and you can't even argue that. That's literally his biggest regret in life, was just not being there for his boys. But I can honestly say that I love Van Hohenheim and his character. He's quite frankly one of my favorite characters in anime, once you realize his story and understand why he did the unthinkable and left his family behind. You see, Van Hohenheim was cursed with immortality and a never-aging body after the tragedy of Xerxes, and for centuries he was just wandering around the world endlessly, learning, teaching alchemy, while also talking to all 536,329 souls that were trapped in him. Never wanting to get close to anyone again, he would just travel from country to country for centuries. Until sometime in the 1860s, he met a woman named Pinnacle Rockbell. Yes, Winry's grandmother. And decades later, he was introduced to Trisha Elric, the love of his life. She was the one that was able to break through his tough exterior and convince him to live his immortal life, not run from it. Years later, they married and had 2 boys named Edward and Alphonse. But here's where Hohenheim's worst nightmare came true. He loved his family more than anything in the world, and his only wish was to grow old with them and die with them. So he started to look for a way to reverse the curse, but along the way, he made a terrifying discovery. A new gigantic transmutation circle, the same that killed the millions of people of Xerxes, was being built again, but this time underneath the nation of Amistris, if I pronounced that correctly. Anyways, not wanting history to repeat itself, he decided it was up to him to stop this for the sake of his family and beloved friends that he's made. He resurfaces years later, helping Edward and Alphonse defeat Father, even though Edward hated him. Eventually, after the defeat of Father, Hohenheim dies while sitting next to Trisha's grave, finally grateful for the life that he lived. I really love Hohenheim because he never really wants the boys to forgive him or even understand why he left. He just wants to love them with all his heart. Number 6, Vegeta and Goku. Wait, I know, Goku gets a lot of attention for being a bad father, and some of that criticism is deserved, but he isn't a bad father by any means. I want to give both Goku and Vegeta some slack about being a father because, well, Goku never met his, and King Vegeta was a king, so he never made time for Vegeta. So they had to learn to be a father on their own, basically. But let's tackle Goku first. Again, I'm gonna go back to saying that the best thing a father could give his child, besides just loving them, is belief and support. And he loves and believes in his kids a lot. Maybe a little too much. People forget that he sacrificed himself not once, but twice to help his son Gohan. The first being against Raditz and the second being against Cell. Hell, even after Gohan defeats Cell, he wishes to stay in heaven because he believes Gohan is ready to protect the earth, and that the world no longer needed him. A becoming the man of the house sort of deal. And eventually when he comes back to life, he does the same with Goten, believing that he has the potential to defeat Majin Buu. But the most important thing I believe Goku has done as a father is respect his son's wishes. Gohan isn't his father, he's not a warrior, and that disappoints like every Dragon Ball fan around the world. But it doesn't disappoint Goku. Once Gohan chooses to be a scholar instead of a warrior, Goku respects his wishes and doesn't force his lifestyle on his son. Moving on to Vegeta, he's a little more complicated, because he doesn't really show how much he loves his son. We know he does, and he only ever shows it when he's in a fit of rage, like when he thought Cell killed future Trunks, or right before he was about to sacrifice himself to Majin Buu, he got Trunks to safety. He might not show it, but he loves his son and he's very proud of him, especially since Trunks is stronger than Goten. Number 5. No! Okay, I know I'm cheating, I know. I should be putting him in the same slot with Hohenheim, but I just can't do that. Mayhew belongs to the top 5. Probably the most beloved character in Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. He isn't technically in the show for much, but his impact... There's a reason why he's still a fan favorite. And out of respect for him, I'm not going to say too much about him because if you watch Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, you know why he deserves this spot or maybe even higher on the list. And if you haven't watched Full Metal Alchemist, just go do yourself a favor and go watch it, and you'll see why Maze is so loved in the anime community. Number 4. Kohai Inuzuku from Sweetness and Lightning. Alright, this might be one that most of y'all don't know because Sweetness and Lightning isn't the most popular anime, but it's still one I highly recommend to everyone. In short, the story revolves around Kohei trying to get better at taking care of his daughter Sugumi after the death of his wife. Mainly revolving around him trying to get better at cooking so that his daughter could eat proper meals. One of the most wholesome animes you could possibly watch, this entire show is just him being one of the best fathers in anime. Constantly trying to balance his work and home life with the new responsibility of being a single father. And that's it. The show is basically him just being a great dad. How could he not make the list? Alright, in our third spot we have Igneo from Fairy Tail. Yeah, I never said a requirement was that you had to be human. Dragons can be fathers too. Igneo was the Fire Dragon King and adopted father of Natsu. 400 years before the start of the series, having befriended Zeref, he met a young Natsu and decided to train the young wizard in the lost art of Dragon Slayer magic. The main reason he wanted to train Natsu was because it was part of some giant plan to kill the black dragon Acnologia. I don't want to get too much into the plan because it was really complicated and involves time traveling and...
Not a great plan.
But it was through this training that he grew very fond of Natsu, treating him more like a son rather a student. Natsu, having lost his parents early in life, didn't know how to read, write, or basic human functions. It was Igneo that taught him everything he knows. And Natsu loved him like a father because of this. Unfortunately for Natsu, the plan to kill Acnologia still took precedent. He sealed himself inside of Natsu with the help of Zeref and Anaharphilia, and time traveled to the future, where inside Natsu's body, he could grow stronger with the excess of ether nano in this time period, so that one day he could be strong enough to defeat Acnologia. Again,
not a great plan.
The thing is, when he sealed himself inside Natsu, it gave Natsu the memory of being abandoned on July 7th in the year 777. Something that didn't harbor any negative feelings towards Igneo. Instead, Natsu spent years looking for the dragon. Igneo's final appearance is in the Tartarus arc, when it was finally time to face Acnologia, but he was defeated by the Black Dragon. In his final moments, he told Natsu the real reason why he sealed himself inside him. It was to prevent the dragonization process that happened to Acnologia. But he also told him that the years that they spent together were his happiest, and thanked Natsu for allowing him to love again, as he disappears and gives the rest of his Fire Dragon King power to Natsu. I don't know what it is with fathers sacrificing themselves for their sons in anime, but damn, it doesn't get me every single time. Alright, at number 2 we have Spirit Auburn from Soul Eater. Okay, so like remember earlier when I said fathers usually don't like to show how much they love their children? That does not apply to Spirit. He straight up adores his daughter, like no other father I've seen in anime. Spirit spends literally most of the series just doing anything possible to finally get his daughter to admit that she loves him too. Which is difficult for her because despite being a loving and supporting and wonderful father, he's a terrible pervy womanizer. So one can see why Maka hates her dad, because he really makes it easy to do so. But at the end of the day, he will literally go to hell and back to put a smile on his daughter's face. And that's worth something. Now before we get to the number 1 spot, I want you to comment with an anime father that should have made the list. Maybe I'm missing someone, maybe my list is spot on, probably not. So yeah, let me see who you think is a top 10 father in anime. Now, finally, without further ado, our number 1 father in anime is Uncle Iroh. Like, come on, how can it not be Uncle Iroh? The best non-father father I've seen in like any show. If you don't know who Uncle Iroh is, he's the best character from the best Western cartoon ever, Avatar: The Last Airbender. Also known as the Dragon of the West, Iroh was a Grand Lotus, Master Firebender, former Fire Nation General, and former Crown Prince of the Fire Nation. Iroh, yes, has a very decorated resume, but his proudest feat is being a great uncle to Prince Zuko. You see, Prince Zuko was a troubled kid. He was emotionally and physically beaten by his father, and was given the task of capturing the Avatar, which at the time was an impossible task because no one's seen the Avatar for 100 years. Basically, his father was just disowning him without making it official. Zuko had no one except his uncle, and throughout the series we only see Iroh try to lead his confused nephew down the right path. Iroh was once a father himself, but he lost his son in the war, an event that turned Iroh's life around, and no longer having a son, he views Zuko as one. And he made it his life purpose to help his nephew fulfill his own destiny, not one forced upon him. Iroh loved Zuko, and it pained him to see Zuko fail time and time again. But don't get it twisted, even though he loved Zuko, he wasn't overly protective. He constantly challenged his nephew to make the right choice and help him grow as a person. Literally anytime Iroh spoke to Zuko, he was giving him advice. My son Iroh was just dropping gems after gems. He wanted nothing more but for Zuko to find happiness within himself. And when he finally did, he cried tears of joy. That's the end of the video, guys. Let me know what you think about my top 10 list of fathers in anime. If you enjoyed it, again, drop a like, subscribe for more, and I'll talk to you later. I said talk to you, and I'll talk to you guys later. Happy Father's Day, everybody.
Helped you. Leaves from the vine, falling so slow, like fragile, tiny shells drifting in the foam. Little soldier boy, come marching home. Brave soldier boy comes marching home.